That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about
Thunderbolts,
the third film directed by Jake Schreier, and notably the 36th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures is releasing it for all of us to enjoy on May 2nd, 2025.
Do I know a Jake Schreier film?
I don't believe so. I remember reviewing his debut, Robot and Frank, with Frank Langella and James Marsden out of Sundance back in 2012. He also directed Paper Towns with Nat Wolff and, what's that girl's name? Cara Delevingne. And he directed 6 episodes of Beef.
What is Thunderbolts about? After finding themselves ensnared in a death trap, an unconventional team of antiheroes must embark on a dangerous mission that will force them to confront the darkest corners of their pasts. What is your pull quote?
An efficiently contained, surprisingly poignant superhero ensemble allows Florence Pugh to shine through customary Marvel beats in a narrative exploring the effects of depression, the need for community, and the grace of self-forgiveness.
Mine. Thunderbolts is a surprisingly affecting exploration of the darkest recesses of our minds, wrapped up in a humorous, action-packed superhero film.
Yeah.
I really liked this movie.
I surprisingly did as well, despite how I usually feel about Marvel. But I feel like if you like the Guardians of the Galaxy films or Thor Ragnarok, which Eric Pearson was one of the co-writers on this, alongside Joanna Calo, who wrote a lot of episodes of The Bear and BoJack Horseman, I think you will, if you like those in the Marvel film universe, you'll probably like this.
So, there are a lot of blind spots for me in this universe because I feel like or I understand that a lot of what we're seeing in this movie relates to a TV show or two. So
they're interconnected in many ways, yeah.
So I'm sure we'll get very nicely formed comments letting us know what we missed. But the story is Julia Louis-Dreyfus plays Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, who I liked in this one. She is the director of the CIA, and she's going through the impeachment process, which is being led by a congressman played by Wendell Pierce.
Yes, Congressman Gary.
So she knows the block is hot, so she's trying to cover all her loose ends because she runs something called the Ox Group, O-X-E, and they're the ones responsible, I guess, for
all kinds of illegal things.
Nefarious things.
Human experimentation, blah, blah, blah.
And she's using Black Widow people and Mercs, a failed Captain America who I didn't even know existed, played by Wyatt Russell.
Yeah, John Walker.
Okay, so she's trying to clean all that shit up. So she has this headquarters where all this stuff is, all the physical evidence except for these mercs she's using. So we see that she has basically called 4 of them to go to this bunker and basically assigning them to kill one another, but they don't know that. So they show up and they realize, wait, this seems like a setup when they're all locked in and then it's clear that they're going to be burned alive.
It's like the incinerator in Mickey 17.
But there's a 5th person who's part of this group, a character named Bob, played by Louis Pullman. And we find out that he's part of this Sentry program, which is basically Julia Louis-Dreyfus trying to create a superhero. And she had assumed that project failed. So no one knows that Bob is actually alive and that the experiment was successful.
I guess he was shipped there to be burned along with the other refuse.
So the 5 of them are stuck in here and they work together to get out. Okay. So they get out, but now Julia Louis-Dreyfus and her team are there and they kind of get hemmed up. And the entire time they're stuck in there, Bob, because Louis Pullman's playing it like he's this very weak, feeble man. So, of course, one of the characters, Florence Pugh, Yelena.
Yelena Belova.
She's taken a liking to Bob and she's being very protective towards him. So she's telling him, just stay behind us all and we'll take care of you. But when they get out, they get hemmed up and Bob says, I think I can help. So he escapes and that's when we realize that he has a lot of power. But then he ends up kind of messing up and Julia Louis-Dreyfus traps him and takes him back to a secondary headquarters she has in New York.
That's a building that she inherited from, was it Captain America? Somebody in this universe.
Okay, so the 4 people who were originally brought to that bunker were Florence Pugh, Yelena, Wyatt Russell, who's Jack Walker?
John Walker.
John Walker. Then there were two ladies. I didn't know who these people were.
There's Ava Starr / Ghost, played by Hannah John Kamen, who was in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And then she's dispatched very quickly.
Yeah, she's killed right away.
Olga Kurylenko plays Taskmaster. She's Dreykov's daughter, so her narrative was mostly in Black Widow because she's released by Scarlett Johansson's character. Because the main villain was Ray Winstone's Dreykov in that.
Okay. So now the one gets killed, so now we just have the four. Well, actually, it's just the three. It's Wyatt Russell, Florence Pugh, and the
Hannah
one lady.
John Kamen.
They were like walking through the desert when all of a sudden Florence Pugh's dad shows up, David Harbour, who's the Red Guardian.
Alexei Shostakov. Yeah.
And he knows where they are because he finagled his way to be because he has like a limo company. So he's like, somehow this random guy's limo is driving the director of the CIA.
I highly doubt.
There are several points in this plot that I thought were so silly, but that's how he knows where his daughter is. So he goes and picks them up. But then Sebastian Stan, who's the Winter Soldier,
Or was.
his name's Bucky, which I think is so funny.
Bucky Barnes.
He's a congressperson. And so he's also trying to take down Julia Louis-Dreyfus because he knows she's on some bullshit too. So he captures David Harbour and Yelena and all them, who their like unofficial name is the Thunderbolts, which we can get to. He captures them and they're like, dude, you need our help because Bob is out of control. And he's like, no, I'm arresting you all and bringing you back to the impeachment so you can testify. But then he gets a call from someone.
Mal. Geraldine
Viswanathan. Oh, Julia Louis-Dreyfus' assistant, who we need to talk about her because she also confused me. But she calls Sebastian Stan talking about Bob is out of control. So that's when Sebastian Stan realizes he needs the Thunderbolts' help. So the five of them go to the new headquarters in New York. And they roll up in there like they're going to take Julia Louis-Dreyfus in. But we had seen that she has convinced Bob, Louis Pullman, that he is a superhero and that
A god.
he's a god and that she, like, if he listens to her, she can make him like this amazing thing because he feels like he's nobody. And so Bob annihilates the Thunderbolts. But then he tells Julia Louis-Dreyfus, why should I listen to you? I'm a god. Well, who told you were a god? Well, you told me I'm more powerful than all of the Avengers combined, and one of them is a god. So what does that make me? And then we find out that there was a kill switch for Sentry / Bob that we need to talk about. But it gets used on him, and so we think he's died. But really, now he's turned into this puff of smoke.
He's gone to the dark side.
He's gone to the dark side.
To quote another franchise.
And then he starts like basically killing all of New York City. Like,
Yeah, it's kind of dark and creepy. He's basically banishing everyone to a shadow world.
but initially we don't know that. It just looks like everyone's being killed. And then all of a sudden, Yelena, who there is some character development for her, that she's very unsatisfied with her life. She feels like she hasn't accomplished anything.
She's lonely and depressed. She's mourning the loss of her sister.
Scarlett Johansson. And I was shocked. Yelena basically kills herself. And it's not like to sacrifice anything. She sees the darkness and she walks right into it.
She walks into the abyss, yes.
But that makes her pop up into Bob's brain. Like he's occupying this darkness. And then the other Thunderbolts realize what she's done, so they go in to help her. And basically it's a showdown between Bob and his like depression, basically.
Yeah.
Like literally he's fighting himself. And the way that they save him is all of the Thunderbolts go and give him a hug and tell him, you are not alone, Michael Jackson. And then he snaps out of it. And then everyone who died comes back to life. And then they all go to arrest Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And she's like, hold on, come with me. And they walk through a curtain and it's a live TV crew. And she's like, hey, New York City, I saved the day. Thanks to my good planning, I've assembled these people and they saved all of y'all. And they are the new Avengers. The end. And then we get some post-credit scenes. The first one is that David Harbour, the Red Guardian, he's obsessed with being famous, and he talks about wanting to be on a Wheaties box. So the first one is that he's in a grocery store on the Wheaties box as the new Avengers, trying to get some lady to notice him. And the second post-credit scene is now the new Avengers are in their headquarters, and they get notification that something has come into Earth's atmosphere, and we find out that it's
the Fantastic Four, assuming from the ship. And then they're also kind of being demeaned. They're not really being treated like the Avengers would have been treated. And,
well, because the joke of that scene is that the licensing for the Avengers is an issue.
Yes.
So like David Harbour's come up with like calling them the Avengers with a Z. And then Lewis Pullman's character can't really occupy Sentry because it's like 50-50 if he'll try to kill everyone. So he's just a slouch on a couch.
So the whole entire resolution of this, which I kind of like, is a hug. And that could have been really corny and schmaltzy, but I think with the care taken in the character development and Florence Pugh's performance, sell it in just the right way.
So I will admit I had no interest in watching this movie.
Same.
I've never seen Black Widow, but I know I don't like Scarlett Johansson in it. And I thought that Florence Pugh, because I'd heard her accent in the trailer, I just was not feeling it at all. But I have to say, my favorite part of the movie is Florence Pugh.
Yes.
So I have to apologize to her publicly because I thought she did a fantastic job.
I did catch up with Black Widow in anticipation of this film because her character is introduced there. I have not seen Hawkeye, where her story is also continued in that series. And Julie Louis-Dreyfus shows up in the after-credit sequence in Black Widow, which Black Widow was 2021, and that character technically died in Avengers Endgame, which is 2019. So that's technically it's being an alien to this universe. It's weird putting all these pieces together.
It is.
Anyhow, but as to what you were saying, cutting corners, the very end, the final press conference where they're anointed the new Avengers, these people have just been released from the dark side that was that was crawling all over New York City like a plague, like engulfing it. And then there's just a press conference right there. Like, wouldn't all of these people be super discombobulated by what's just happened to them?
I want to talk about the shortcomings, but what did I like? I like how the film looks. I think that clearly they took more time with this CGI because, with some of the previous superhero films we've seen, like the B, C class ones, those, it just felt like they didn't put a lot of time into crafting the movie. This one feels well crafted.
It was shot by Andrew Draws Palermo, who's worked with David Lowery a couple times. And actually, I think the effects in this look better than in Black Widow. And then I like the score as well from Sun Lux, who were the trio, that musical group did the soundtrack for Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I think the writing is really strong. It feels very adult. I like the sort of themes revolving around depression, hopelessness. I think, like you said, it could have teetered on corny, but it really connected with me.
Well, it's, balancing these superheroes with human experiences that make them relatable.
Because Yelena feels like after she lost her sister, she has nothing, and like that she doesn't want to keep doing this job that she's doing. David Harbour, her dad, they've been estranged for a little while, and so there's a confrontation regarding that I thought was really well written. Then Wyatt Russell's character, he is like a Captain America who was, I think, canceled because he killed someone.
And I believe that's in the series The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I also have not seen.
But he has also lost his wife has left him, so he's dealing with stuff. So all of that's really strong. What didn't work for me? Yeah, shortcomings like that, having a full live news conference after the city had just been engulfed in death. And then I was very confused by Mel, Julia Louis-Dreyfus's assistant.
Geraldine.
Because the director of the CIA, who also runs this ultra top secret division that's doing all this nefarious stuff, why does she have an assistant who's kind of
And she was about to have her spot blown up, this could be devastating for her.
And then at one point, Valentina, Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, says to one of the Thunderbolts, oh yeah, she's having a crisis of deciding if she wants to work for me. And we see that she's been calling Sebastian Stan, tattling on Julia Louis-Dreyfus. You would think a woman like her would have killed Mel.
Well,
at the slightest thought that she's...
I'm unsure of where Mel is at that point, because then she pops up at just the right moment to hit that kill switch. Also, we're told the kill switch was destroyed with the other Sentry program stuff, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus goes, "Give me a new one immediately."
And then she just gets her a new one. I was confused by that.
Okay.
I was confused by the two ladies who were in the group, the initial group, the one who got killed right away, and then the one who remains. I feel like she had nothing to do.
Yeah, she is underutilized, especially in comparison.
And then Louis Pullman's character, it's like he doesn't know how to hone his skills. Then we get a scene where Julia Louis-Dreyfus says, "I know I'm the only person who believes in you. I can show you how to use your power." We get one scene where she's trying to have him like use his mind to move a glass of water.
His telekinesis.
And he barely does it. And then the next scene is him in his little outfit, and he annihilates the Thunderbolts. So I just don't understand how he went from like he can barely move a glass of water to he beat up 5 people.
Well, remember Carrie White?
Okay, 2 people on my worst hair list. First is Louis Pullman as Sentry. Because he has this greasy hair as when he's supposed to be like this depressed man. But then when he becomes Sentry, Julia Louis-Dreyfus has him dye his hair blonde. And I thought it looked terrible.
Well, and then she puts him in this ugly, is it
gold,
amber gold suit?
Yeah, it wasn't very flattering.
Doesn't really...
He looks very washed out. And then Sebastian Stan is Bucky.
Oh yeah, that hair's been looking bad.
I don't understand that hair. It looks different in every scene. Like maybe it's a wig, maybe it's not, maybe it's Maybelline. I don't know. It looks crazy.
I mean, I've said he reminds me of Mark Hamill before, but he looks like Mark Hamill with a Chucky doll wig.
Yeah, sometimes it's very Chucky doll.
I don't like it.
And then sometimes it actually looks quite nice when it's combed back. I'm confused with the hair.
David Harbour, I think he does score some well-earned laughs in this, but every now and then it's like, oh, we didn't really need a comic beat right there. Like I feel like whereas Hannah John Kamen's underutilized, he's sometimes overutilized with the comedy.
I wouldn't disagree.
Just not a lot, and not.
I enjoyed him though.
I enjoyed him, but there were just a couple times where I'm like, oh, I think that's almost a little adolescent there. And then I think with some of the themes are very basic, but meaningful. And I did like the characterization. Sometimes some of like Julie Louis-Dreyfus has one line where she's like, "Righteousness without power is just an opinion." It's like it's said in a way that should pop, but it doesn't.
But I do really like Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
I do too. Her little hair streak was driving me crazy. And she's, of course, been introduced elsewhere. She's in Black Panther Wakanda forever because she's Martin Freeman's ex-wife. There's a whole, yeah.
The name Thunderbolts comes from when Yelena was a little girl, she played for this Pee Wee soccer team, which is sort of the basis for a couple jokes in the film. But the name of the team was the Thunderbolts. So then someone goes, "Oh, we're the Thunderbolts," and then it just kind of sticks.
It sticks.
But then in the end, they're the new Avengers.
The darkness underneath, like, because Eric Pearson, who I think co-wrote Black Widow as well, because both Yelena and her sister, what's her name, Natasha, the Black Widow,
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, they went through what's called this Red Room
training
program. And there's a scene in Black Widow where she talks about how her uterus was involuntarily removed.
Oh my goodness.
Like, oh my God.
Probably the most shocking scene after Yelena basically kills herself is we see that David Harbour's character saves a young girl from being crushed by some concrete, falling from a skyscraper, and he saves her, and then Louis Pullman as the darkness kills that little girl. I feel like everyone gasped. Like,
oh yeah,
my
because
God.
it's shocking. Because the way that he's killing them is they basically look like puff of smoke or like black chalk on the sidewalk. It is kind of jarring, and I would say very effective and surprising for a Marvel film.
I also read in some entry that Harrison Ford, Rachel Weisz, and Lawrence Fishburne are in this movie. I didn't see them. I think Julia Louis-Dreyfus mentions Harrison Ford.
Yeah, because in Captain America: Brave New World,
because she talks about your president was this red monster, and you're worried about what I'm doing. So, but we don't see him. I didn't see Rachel Weisz or Lawrence Fishburne. They do mention Sam Wilson in the second post-credit scene, who I didn't know who that was. I had to look it up, and apparently that's Anthony Mackie.
The reigning Captain America.
But yeah, I would totally watch this again.
Yeah, if I was forced to watch another Marvel movie, yeah, I wouldn't be mad.
And the run, I mean, it flew by.
It did, and it actually it's a little shorter than some. It's like what?
So I like that.
I was just kind of gobsmacked that I left the theater feeling light and happy after a Marvel film, because I don't remember the last time that happened.
What would you give Thunderbolts?
I'm gonna be very generous and give it 3.5.
Yeah, I thought it was very good. I would give it 3.5 out of 5. Join us on Patreon and listen to our podcast. Bye.